her family will sustain the death of a family member. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
My fellow board members, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our April meeting. Mr. Austin will be joining us later. He's caught in traffic getting out of Columbia. And of course, you've heard Dr. Ham is not with us tonight because of the transition of a family member. We're excited about the good things that's going on in our district, and we're excited about each of you being here tonight, many of whom we will celebrate as a part of tonight's agenda. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, we have the agenda before us, and it will stand approved unless there are objections. Objections once, twice, 3 times. The agenda stands approved, and it will be our guide for tonight's meeting. Okay, Ms. Shelley, if you will lead us in our special recognitions.
Good evening, Chairman Canty and members of the board. It is indeed an honor to recognize some of our outstanding fine arts students. Tonight we are recognizing 9 Sumter School District students who made the All-State Orchestra. And they recently participated in the All-State Clinic. The dedicated students worked for almost 16 hours, 10 of which were on a Saturday, and rehearsal over the course of 3 days in preparation for their concerts. They did a phenomenal job of representing Sumter School District and the Sumter community. So I would like to first call forward our students from Alice Drive Middle. If Michael Bear and Miss Jeannie Presley will please come forward. And also C.D. Grace Kramer, Mia Davis, Bryson Fink, McKenna Reed, and Leela Shubing. Come forward. And we are broadcasting live, so make sure that y'all face the camera and wave to our audience. And our board members will present y'all with certificates, then we'll take a picture.
Okay. Pam McGregor.
First of all, we're doing Alice Drive Middle.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, that just doesn't say.
It does. Their name is written by the school's written by the name.
Oh, my bad.
That's okay.
It does say.
Alice Drive Middle first.
Alice Drive.
Alice Drive Middle. McKenna Reed.
Come on. Sumter High.
Davis. Carson Fink. And Grace Cronenberg.
You all look this way and show your certificates. We'll take the picture. Congratulations. We have one student from Bates Middle School who made the All-State Orchestra. Well, Kristen Coates, she's our director, and Dr. Aisha Hunter, please come forward. And we would like to recognize Mariana Rees-Para from Bates Middle School. Just one. And finally, under the direction of Eric Hines and our principal, Mr. Nicholas Pearson, if y'all please come forward, we have 3 students from Sumter High School who earned placement in the All-State Orchestra: Abby Bauer, Finn McGregor, and Hannah Young.
Almost need a hard copy. We will now have public participation. We have 4 persons signed up to speak tonight. We are anxious to hear what you have to say to us. I would like to remind you that your comments should be directed to the board and should not address individuals by name, and that each of you will have 3 minutes for your presentation. And if you discover that that's not sufficient, you may submit a written statement for our consideration. We'll hear now from Bobby Davis.
Good evening. I appreciate your time tonight. I am a military spouse. We just PCS'd to Sumter about a year ago. And one of the benefits of being a military spouse is we get to go many places. One of the disadvantages is learning the school system, learning the budget, and learning just how in general the schools operate. One of my biggest concerns is, particularly, I have 3 students in the district. I do have a middle schooler at Ebenezer Middle School. One of my concerns is that the class sizes, teacher ratio. I have done my research on this. I have been part of the school strategic planning committee. I have all the documentation, and I'm sure you guys have seen that as well. I've done research on student to teacher ratios, the benefits of it as far as self-esteem and just things, especially in middle school. My concern is that the average is saying 1 to 26. 1 teacher to 26 students. In reality, that is an average, yes. My daughter is in 6 classes, and most of them are between 30 to 36 students to 1 teacher. There is 1 class that she's in, the teacher no longer works at the school, so there's another teacher who teaches once a week. So she not only does 6th grade, but she does 7th grade. And that causes a big problem as far as, and I noticed it in the strategic planning, is the school has low test scores. And they are under the 25th percentile. Most of them are not over the 30th percentile in reading, reading, English, mathematics, and that's a concern. Also, they're having issues with teachers wanting to return the next year. If you notice that their percentage, I have it here, was 79 or 81% of teachers wanting to return. We also run into the issues of high referrals. So these three issues causes the teachers' unhappiness, and you can tell it in some of their behaviors. And the teachers are doing the best that they can with what they are provided. I'm not all here criticizing any teachers, because like I said, they are doing the best with what they have. My child was told today in one of her classes that 21 students in that class are failing that class. So clearly there's a disconnect between these ratios that the students are seeing. My question is there anything in motion to fix this problem, whether it be hire more teachers at this school, whether it be hire aides at this school? I do know that there are only 18 students who are in the honors class or the advanced classes. And for a school that size, that is a really low number. So I guess my questioning is there anything that is in motion to help these teachers, as well as the administrators, as well as the students excel? Thank you.
Thank you so very much.
Yes, sir.
For your interest and zeal for
Yes, sir.
quality education.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Tanya Akers, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Akers.
Akers.
Yes, sir.
Please excuse me.
I'm here to address my girls going through a lot of bullying at school over the past 5 years they've been there. I've submitted everything that I can recall in writing because it happens so often. There's very little days they can come happy, and it's affected them emotionally and who they are physically. They don't want to go to school. They beg to stay home, and I've got to do something at this point so they can learn to the best of their ability without being more worried about how they're being treated at school. Thank you. Who do I give this to?
Thank you so very much. Dr. Kelly, what school?
R.E. Davis.
She said R.E.
Preparatory
Davis.
Academy.
Thank you. Dr. Brenda Williams.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brenda Williams. I'm a retired medical doctor here in Sumter. My group, the Family Unit, is a 501c3 nonprofit charitable organization. We have, ever since the schools were closed down, Maywood and Delaney, ever since then, we've been fighting to right the wrong. The last board that was in effect were good people, but they made some really bad mistakes, some very bad decisions on closing those schools in the hopes of saving money for the district. It has been proven that money was not saved. As a matter of fact, $1 billion has already been spent on the renovation of R.E. Davis, and the costs are still rising. That school spent thousands of dollars on renovating a gym. The gymnasium has never been used for basketball games and volleyball games. The kids go out to Maywood. I recap on what the parent from the base just mentioned. Personally, I've done studies, actually gone out to the schools multiple times, walked the halls, talked to the teachers, talked to the students, talked to the folks working in the kitchen, talked to the housekeepers to find out what are the problems here. Unfortunately, the local news media wouldn't cover the story that we presented to the media and to the board and to the county council and to the legislative delegation about the fact that R.E. Davis School has no protection for the students. I personally walked into the school. I have it on film 4 times. Just walked right on in. It could have been a child molester or someone to kidnap someone or a gunman or whatever. I did it 4 times. The school has very little to poor protection for those students. And there were supposed to have been some protective measures, well, a buzzer or something that you push to let the people know up front in administration that there's someone in the building wanting to get in. No response whatsoever has come from the Sumter School District in that regard. I've sent letters on behalf of my organization about the protection for those students. Crowded classrooms, and one class at Cherryville School has 3 times the number of students that that teacher had at Delane. 3 times the number of students, so the classes are crowded. And we want the board to continue your fight to save our schools in rural Sumter County. You have reached a point of a lot of criticism from all avenues, people in the business community, people in the school district, and it's unfair, but we applaud you, board members. We voted for you. We have confidence in you. Thank you very kindly.
Jacqueline Hughes.
Good evening. My name is Jackie Hughes. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Interim School Superintendent Ham, which is not here, Chairman Canty, and school board members, and my fellow citizens. I have 3 topics of concern. First, you remind me of what has been going on for the last 2 years in our country. It's a good thing that you don't have unlimited time and money, because we would be bankrupt. Someone on the board doesn't realize how much time, energy, and work it takes to come up with a report on the cost of reopening a school. You don't just go push a button and out comes all the reports that employees have to present before you, so you can have an idea of the cost and man hours involved. Then there's the added cost for lawyers that you've hired. I think $20,000 is a conservative amount. When you deal with lawyers, it usually ends up costing more than what you planned, and usually takes more time than what you could have imagined. Second, at least one of you has implied that closing a community school will cause the community to decline in population. I say you sure haven't figured out whether the egg or the chicken came first. It seems to me that the population of the community has declined, and therefore the need of a community school has declined. You really can't blame the decline on the community on closing a school when the decline in students came after the decline in the community. Third, it seems to me that some of you don't realize that it's always less expensive to have one school instead of having 2. I keep waiting for someone to say that you believe that it will be cheaper to have 2 schools than to have 1. I want you to think about you and your wife or husband deciding to get a divorce. Will it be cheaper to provide 2 residents or 1? Just in case you don't know, it's always cheaper to maintain 1 household than to maintain 2. Remember the song, It's Cheaper to Keep Her, going back to 1973 with Johnny Taylor? My question to each of you who voted to reopen Maywood and perhaps Delane: how much money are you willing to spend? How much energy are you willing to exert? And how much time are you willing to waste to get out of doing what you were elected to do? I believe you were elected to conduct the business of preparing our students for the future, to hire teachers who are prepared to teach, and to be a school board that is concerned with moving forward instead of undoing and revisiting the past. Please fix this problem so our incoming school superintendent doesn't have to direct her attention to figure this out. You created the problem, and therefore it is your job to fix it. It's time to halt the insanity and get down to real Sumter County School Board business. Thank you, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you very much again to all of you who have shared with us tonight. We appreciate your comments. Item 4 on the agenda tonight is the interim superintendent's report. The first item, 4.1, under this section of the report, is a comment about our Career and Technology Center being in the spotlight as being now a member of the Transform South Carolina School community. Dr. Sherry Miller, who directs our local program, is here, and she will bring us up to stuff on where we are. I'm really delighted, Sherry, that we are now a part of Transform South Carolina. I've been keeping up with this program for the last several years and have been anxious about us getting involved. So thank you very much.
And thank you too. Good evening, Board Chair Canty, board members, and Dr. Ham in her absence. Thank you for the opportunity for me to share Sumter Career and Technology recent accomplishment. It is a great honor to join the Transform SC network. Sumter Career and Technology Center is very fortunate to be one of 2 career centers and one of 69 public schools participating in this network. Transform SC is a statewide network of innovative public schools that work with and collaborate with business leaders, educators, parents, students, and policymakers in order to transform South Carolina public education system to prepare our graduates for careers, college, and citizenship. The Transform SC network is a natural fit for our students and for our school. The legacy of Sumter Career and Technology Center extends back to nearly 50 years. And over the years, we have continually worked to apply an innovative approach to education. Our designation as a Transform SC network facility helps further demonstrate the instruction in skills trades such as mechatronics, cosmetology, health science, and automotive trades that can equally transform and prepare our students for their future paths. Why Sumter Career and Technology Center? It is simple. We are preparing our students in traditional CATE programs, but we are also preparing our students in innovative SREB programs. We are preparing our students, finally, to be career and college ready. Where do we go from here? We're exploring the possibility of a STEM certification through Advanced STEM for the Career Center. I thank you for your continued support. I invite each of you to stop by the Career Center. We will take you on a tour. So stop by and visit us and see what's going on. Our doors are open. Our teachers are welcoming, and so are our students. Just stop by and visit us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Miller, for being with us. Any questions from the board? Any questions? Again, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
I try to attend the summit each year, and hopefully I'll be going this year as well. By the way, as Miss Austin would say, on my own dime, because there's quite a bit going on with Transform America, Transform South Carolina, that we as board members also need to be aware of. So I appreciate that.
And thank you so much again for your support.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Okay. Dr. Norris Williams will make the presentation tonight on IDEA.
Good evening, Chairman Canty and members of the board. I would like to present information in reference to the IDEA monitoring report that we went through in December of 2018. The first portion of the report is an overview of information just from the Office of Special Services. And the purpose of the program for monitoring, it was to monitor the local educational agencies, the LEAs, as well as the state operating programs or the SPOs, to provide students who provide to students with disabilities. Thank you. The purpose was, once again, to examine and to evaluate the procedures, the records, and the student services that we provide in Sumter County. Also provide information and assistance to the LEAs and SPOs, and once again, those are your local educational agencies and your state-operated programs. Also to assist with the efficiency and the effectiveness of the programs and improve the instructional and educational outcomes for students with disabilities. Our site visit for Sumter took place in December 3rd through the 6th, 2018, and they reviewed data from with local policies as well as procedures, student folders. They conducted interviews with staff and parents, and also visited schools to verify that the implementation of the individualized education programs, or IEP, information, and conduct surveys with our students, with our adults, both our teachers as well as the faculty. In the report, there were commendations and concerns that were mentioned. Some of the commendations were that the files in the folders were well organized, and the monitoring for the teams, where they were able to locate the relevant information very easily. Also, the forms and signature pages are being uploaded into our program that we utilize here, SC Enrich IEP system, to document the actions in an IEP for good internal oversight. There was also a high rate of survey completions by the general education teachers. Along with the commendations, one of the concerns that were mentioned was the quantity of the manifestation determination review, or MDR, meetings for disciplinary referrals or removals, and their correlation to the hearing process. So a manifestation determination review is a meeting that's simply held to see if the child's disability is in correlation with the infraction that was documented. Suggestions and additional training. There was suggestion for the individualized educational program, or IEP, development and specialized instruction for related services to have further implementation. So our plan of action for addressing that concern is that the district as well as the state is going to provide professional development for each of the areas noted in a specific time frame for implementation and reporting back to the state. Some of the professional development will be conducted by members of the State Department, and other portions of professional development will be handled here on the district level. That concludes the information for the monitoring program. If there are any questions at this time?
All right, any questions?
Yes, I have some questions.
All right.
Dr. Williams, discipline was a concern with the State Department?
Not necessarily discipline in isolation, however, discipline in reference to students with IEPs as well. For the concern that we have to address, it's in reference to, once we determine whether the infraction is related to the disciplinary, the infraction is related to the disciplinary consequences, then we have there's certain items that have to take place. And so those, based on the files that were pulled, that was one of the areas of improvement for us.
Was the State Department say anything about a behavior intervention plan?
Not specifically, no, sir.
Not specifically. Do we have one?
For individual students?
Correct.
Individual students, when warranted, yes, a student would have a behavior intervention plan.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Sure, no problem.
I know that you were commended for the number of teachers that responded to the survey, but I noticed that you didn't get many parents that responded. Is that usual, or what did y'all do to try to get parents to participate in the survey? That's
an excellent question. Traditionally, our parents have grown accustomed to responding to surveys in more of an electronic format. However, these surveys were paper pencil, and so you're relying on the student to get it to the parent to get it back to the school. So that's one of the procedures that has not quite changed with the state yet, unfortunately.
Another question.
Another question?
Yes, sir. Okay. How many certified teachers do you have in that special services?
Certified teachers in special services. It's going to be dependent upon the school and the need. So I don't have the specific number of special services teachers.
Roughly.
If I had to estimate, I would say about 160.
What about uncertified? Roughly estimate.
Uncertified teachers in special education.
Special services.
Special services, there are no uncertified teachers in special services.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, further questions? Thank you, Dr. Williams, for your report.
Sure, no problem.
Dr. Paul, I'll tell you about that later on. Okay. 4.3, we'll have now a district-wide discipline update from Dr. Falls. Thank you, Dr. Falls.
I hope Amy was trying to cover for me. You know, we always talk about, especially at these meetings, not the most pleasant things, but I had the opportunity, I was racing to get back to the meeting before I get into the discipline, if you don't mind. We had a John Morant Day, Sumter's next millionaire. If you don't know Ja, he's a very talented athlete. He's about ready to go into the NBA draft. But beyond his skills on the court, what amazed me and what really is a tribute to our educational system, our community, everybody in this room, is his character and his ability to handle. You know, just at the gym, there was probably 30 mics in his face, and you know, just imagine that at his age, with the whole world looking at you at every step you take. And he's a Sumter kid, born and raised out in Dazzell. Great kid, very humble, very down to earth. I mean, I believe he would be making millions whether he had the ability on the court or not. Just a tribute to Sumter in general. So I just wanted to comment on that a little bit. It's a great opportunity to get out there and see a little bit of that. So
Thank you for being there and for being here.
yeah, I rushed.
Yeah.
Didn't get stuck in the Columbia traffic, so I made it. Thanks, Amy, for trying to cover for me, though. Just ABE real quick. When I was asked to present, this was last board meeting, I think it was. I don't think you had any in between there. I got stuck on jury duty, unfortunately, and wasn't able to present. So the first half is really just an overview of ABE. We have a lot of new board members. I don't know if you're familiar with it or not. So I wanted to do just more of an overview for this. In your packets, I gave you more specific as far as data things. So we'll just start with that. Maybe. There we go.
Societal changes have resulted in more and more of our children coming to school lacking the social and emotional skills necessary to learn.
Time spent addressing problem behaviors stemming from this issue has teachers finding it much more difficult to teach students the skills needed to fulfill academic requirements. Principals are finding it hard to effectively support their teachers and staff and also manage their day-to-day administrative duties when they are inundated with an increasing number of discipline referrals.
The Alternative Behavior Educator, or ABE, K-3 program provides a creative and effective solution to addressing elementary school discipline problems through sequential social and emotional skills instruction using 12 engaging online.
This is more on the elementary side. I didn't want to bore you with all the videos. This is just one portion of it.
For own actions, self-control, building positive relationships, importance of rules, manners, respect, tattling, conflict resolution, bus safety, and time management. This innovative web-based behavioral intervention software program has been designed for the individual student and features our lovable animated character Abe as our host.
Hey there, friend. Have you ever felt like this guy in school?
Abe's warm and friendly personality reassures students as they work their way through each of the 12 modules. And his first-hand experiences further enhance students' learning by providing them with strong, real-world examples they can easily relate to.
This is exactly what your teacher is talking about.
In addition to its strong appeal among students, the ABE program also provides you, the school administrator, with the flexibility you demand. ABE is RTI compliant and can be used in any type of classroom setting or designated intervention area. And ABE can provide the activities and practices that are considered necessary to support the framework for a tiered intervention program utilized in the classroom or throughout the school. These capabilities remove the guesswork for regular and special education teachers who must use alternative strategies that qualify as evidence-based interventions and must also provide thorough documentation of the strategies implemented and the resulting data. Schools have implemented interventions for academic improvements for many years. However, only in recent years has the behavioral side of the pyramid been acknowledged. AID is an intervention program that not only satisfies the behavioral side of the RTI pyramid, but also complements the existing academic interventions that are being used for reading and math deficiencies. Studies show that by correcting behavioral disruptions, a student may increase his or her academic scores by as much as 10%, and therefore have a better chance of achieving success in the classroom environment. With these thoughts in mind, the value of the AID partnership is easily recognized. With AID, teachers have the ability to give immediate attention to disruptive or maladaptive student behavior, and in the process provide content-specific, corrective instruction without removing the student from the classroom. This convenience alleviates the loss of teaching time for the disruptive student's classmates, whose learning experience would otherwise be interrupted. AID provides teachers and administrators with a valuable tool for correcting behavior, progress monitoring, and data tracking in their discipline or RTI process. As a visual and audio learning program, AID speaks directly to students in order to assure success. Each of the AID program's 12 modules of intervention begins with a pretest to determine the student's prior knowledge of the content that will be presented in the assigned module.
You can learn to avoid distractions, but it sure takes practice.
Our animated host, Abe, provides the narration for the specific lesson taught in every module. The delivery begins with a brief introduction to set the stage for the content that will be covered. Immediately following, the student learns several subject-related key vocabulary words, which is accomplished through pronunciation, definition, and correct usage in sentences. These sentences have been structured to not only reinforce recognition of required sight words and sight word phrases from the pre-primer to 4th grade level Dolch list, but also words that can be decoded phonetically. In addition, the letter font used for the words and the sentences in this segment is similar to the Zahner-Bloser style of handwriting, which is taught in many elementary classrooms across the country. After the vocabulary segment, Abe returns to tell the rest of his story by using descriptive role-played examples that include live and still action to clarify meaning of the content being presented and recognition of what the student must do to correct the negative behavior. To further improve skills development and to reinforce positive behaviors discussed in the module, Abe also features a variety of engaging interactive games. These games, which appeal to visual, auditory, and kinesthetic learners, focus on behavior recognition and provide positive reinforcement. In other words, students identify good and bad behaviors while also using problem-solving and critical thinking skills to complete fun games like concentration, mazes, and puzzles. To effectively analyze student progress and mastery of content, Abe utilizes a pre-test and post-test to measure student gains and understanding. These questions are read to the student and can be repeated for comprehension. Students are required to successfully answer 70% of the post-test questions in order to proceed to the automated progress monitoring phase of the intervention. Students are given 3 attempts at achieving success before being referred for assistance. An automated progress monitoring tool is the key to your success. Abe allows the teacher to score the student's daily behavior over a set monitoring period with the click of a mouse. Teachers will receive an automated email each day requesting input that easily documents the student's behavior for that day. Abe also uses a weighted scoring system in the form of a symbol that allows for fast and effective progress monitoring. This automated learning management system generates the necessary data for administrative and teacher accountability purposes. With Abe's unique tracking ability, administrators will have discipline data at their fingertips for reporting and trending referrals, incidents, and interventions. With ABE's easy, effective, web-based intervention program for the classroom, you'll also enjoy many additional benefits that are so critical to the success of students, teachers, administrators, and school systems throughout the nation. These benefits include, but are not limited to, more time on task for all students, less office referrals, positive behavior changes, ease of progress monitoring, individualized instruction, specific correction for problem behaviors, a teacher-friendly design, RTI requirement satisfaction, multiple station delivery, and a user-friendly data-driven format. By targeting more than 50 unwanted behaviors pertinent to the elementary school setting, while teaching and reinforcing desired positive behaviors among your students, the AID program will empower you as educators to continue dedicating your instructional time to the rest of your students. And isn't that what administrators, teachers, and parents really need?
Why don't you try it too? See you soon.
Abe first started out in the district, I guess it was about 8 years ago or so when I was at the alternative school. We started there, just the alternative school solely. That was before we had the capability to connect with Power School. And then from there, it is now a district-wide program that everybody uses. We got away from the paper referrals, and it tracks the data and has some intervention pieces to it as well as the BIP. You can do a BIP in there as well, Reverend McGaney, that you were asking about earlier. You can do those in there as well. So just to touch on some things, I pulled a couple statements from their website. First one is from Dr. Kelvin Williams. He's over in Florence, School District 1, I believe. And as you can see, the impact that it made to their district back when they started it in 2015. It is very effective as long as it's utilized properly, just like anything. It can really make a difference with your discipline. And I have one last little clip here. I don't know, do you got click on that, Amy? This one is much shorter. It's only about 2 minutes. This is kind of where we've seen it going for the future before they even got there. So I just wanted to kind of give you an overview of where we'd like to see this go.
Meet TJ, a freshman at Uptown High. He used to cut class a lot. Not anymore. TJ School launched Scholarship. A comprehensive smart ID card and automated attendance system. Now, Uptown High knows when TJ gets on the bus. And when he actually enters the building. Even his teachers can quickly tell that TJ tapped in at school, but is not where he's supposed to be. Last time TJ was late, he was caught vandalizing the boys' room. 3 strikes, and he is out of luck. He'll be spending some quality time with the counselor and Scholarship's ABE behavior modification system. TJ is learning that his actions affect others and limit his freedom. For Josie, Scholarship makes lunchtime and breathing a little easier. Before Scholarship's integration, the lunch menu was full of hidden dangers that put her at risk of heading to the hospital. Now, Scholarship verifies her choices along with her payment and lunch period. Administrators give Scholarship high marks for improved student safety and campus security. They can keep kids out of sensitive areas, verify every visitor, and if needed, lock down the school in seconds. Parents give Scholarship 2 thumbs up. The Smart ID card has no personal info on it, just an encrypted ID number. Plus, sensitive information is safe in a secure cloud. The IT admin is happy because our Med Group and Scholarship do all the integration and testing. Scholarship improves student safety and accountability and enhances campus security. Students learn more and can achieve their full potential in a safe and secure environment. Good things happen with Scholarship K-12 solutions.
AB and scholarship married together. I guess it's been maybe 2 years or so now. Might be a little bit longer, but we kind of seen that as an opportunity to bring a lot of pieces together. As Dr. Williams mentioned earlier about safety and security, that is always on our forefront thinking, that we always are trying to improve things. And you know, obviously we've had some financial things that have slowed up this process, but that is the end goal. I wanted you to see our end goal. It is to have a one-stop shop, so to speak, so that you can monitor and know where your kids are at all times. If there's an active shooter, if there's whatever the case may be, you're able to know where everyone's at all times. And you know, I know the technology department's been working on access points. Those cards read those access points. So they'll be able to use those for entry and those kind of things. You know, in a perfect world, we'd already have it in place, but we all have to abide by a checkbook, so to speak. So we're working towards that, though. I wanted you to see the end goal. So any questions about AB itself? And then I know the other part later.
Yes, I have a question, Dr. Candy. I noticed on the screen that the child with the card, the access card, they would have to actually use the access card to check in. Yes. What if they don't use the card? Would somebody be there to make sure when they come and check in?
Yes, and the other piece to that is they kind of touched on it. Let's say you do check in and you go hang out in the bathroom, or you don't check in. Either way, that first period teacher or homeroom, whatever the case is, once it's all, and we're not there yet, but once it is there, then that first period teacher, whether it's a class or a homeroom, would have all their attendance, and they would know whether or not so-and-so was there. And they would be able to alert administration or whatever right out of the gate, so to speak. And eventually, you know, you check into your classes as well. You know, that there's a plug-and-play reader that they come in and tap in for class. Teacher doesn't have to waste time taking attendance anymore. It frees up that, you know, the first 5 minutes or so that are wasted. Billy, Susie, you know, that's the end goal, is to maximize their instructional time.
And I understand that quite well. I'm just wondering if someone decided to come into class first thing in the morning and decides not to check in, but just, you know, stay there, will they get caught?
They will.
Okay.
They will.
Okay, thank you.
Other question? Oh, I'm sorry, Doctor. Miss Ray, I'm sorry.
Okay. I know Abe provides all kinds of statistics. Do you have anything that you could tell us about how much these modules are being used? Is it 100% across the district, all schools, or how much are they utilizing the things that are available?
The intervention modules? Mm-hmm. It varies from school to school, and we have noticed a correlation for those that are implementing the modules more frequently. Their discipline referrals are lower than the previous year. So it does vary across the district. And the modules, they're getting ready to change over to a new system, and I don't have the name on the top of my head, but they're getting ready to do away with the modules they have. They actually have outsourced it now to where there is hundreds. I know you're familiar with it somewhat. The old modules they had was limited in the numbers. The new system they're going to is actually research with psychologists and different organizations, and it's hundreds of different modules for every age group, for just about every scenario. So they're getting ready to switch over.
Thank you.
Okay.
Two questions, Dr. Follen. This may not be something that you can answer. Maybe, obviously, our superintendent could, or maybe the assistant superintendents. That's our district student code of conduct behavior. Why would we not have all schools doing the same thing with that, with those modules?
I can't answer that for you, honestly. You know, I have the system, but I don't do that piece of it necessarily. I think that the schools at some point was left up to their discretion of how they. Some schools have an ISS, some schools don't. So they, you know, that's where a lot of them do the intervention pieces in the ISS room.
And I know a lot of the ISSs were added. They didn't recommend them in the elementary grades, but I know a lot of the schools added them at the elementary level. And, you know, and you probably couldn't answer that either. I'd be curious as to how many actually have added them to accommodate with their modules. And the second question, are we still using time to teach in the district?
There are some schools that are still doing it. We got to a point, I want to say middle of the year or so. I don't remember the exact time frame. It was before the Christmas holidays. I know that, where time to teach came up, and the TAC was against it. Decided that they didn't, and we moved away from it.
So
but there are some schools still using time to teach.
Okay.
And primarily, I believe the middle and high school was the ones that was not in support of it. They felt like it just didn't fit with their age group.
Okay.
That's what I was told.
Mr. Chair. Dr. Falls, with the schools that are utilizing these modules, are you seeing a decline in discipline with them as opposed to the traditional handling of discipline?
Yes, and even firsthand, when I was a principal, when we first piloted the program, the ability to, if Dr. Hilton was my AP, I could very easily see what he was doing and not doing as the principal, and be able to help assist if you need help, because sometimes, you know, you get that certain alphabet. Well, I'm secondary, high school, so I don't want to speak on the other ones, but you get an alphabet, and sometimes you get a lot of referrals you may get behind. I can give him resources to help get him caught up, or, you know, just as the principal, it allows you to be able to see how he's handling them, what level he's getting as far as numbers, all those things. So I believe that alone helps improve the discipline, because you're acting on it much faster. And then the other part, when I started in alternative school, I believe that for a child to not want to go to ISS, they got to be a little bit uncomfortable. And a lot of times these modules made them a little uncomfortable, because they had to think about themselves a little bit. They had to assess why they were there, well, how they get in that spot, and they had to answer it. And the system wouldn't let you progress unless you did. And the nice thing about the modules from the counselor side of it is that it would send red flags. In other words, if you were putting stuff on there like I hate myself, or, you know, I don't like myself, or, you know, those kind of, it would send a red flag to the counselors so that they could say, hey, Mr. Austin may just be saying it, but we need to look into it because he's made these comments. We need to, you know, see what's going on with it. The modules are a great tool in not just helping curb the behavior, but also it sometimes brings other things out, because when they start looking into themselves internally and start answering truthfully, you get some answers that you got to take other steps that may not be behavior related.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Candy. Dr. Fall, listening to what you're sharing, it appears that there's a lot of positive things to come out of the software that's available. But then when you say that it's a choice, when we buy into the programs, it appears that we are not getting a reduction in people when schools decide that they don't want to participate. So what is it that we need to do in order to make sure that if the end result is in the favor of the children as well as the principals and administration to help keep things, you know, under control, what do you recommend that we do to make sure that if it's in the best interest of the children and the schools, that we implement or stress the need for the implementation? Because we have a lot of kids being referred to the alternative school. Mm-hmm. And some of this might prevent some of that from occurring.
That's a little bit of a loaded question. I don't know that there's a clear cut, well, I think there's a lot of things that go into it I think the way things are structured, you could change some of that, the way, you know, who's responsible, who isn't, those kind of things. I think there's a lot of things that you could do to ensure accountability. Because that's what's really missing, is what you're saying, is the accountability piece. Why are some allowed not to and some are doing it? Those kind of things. I think that there's several different approaches you can take to it.
Thank you.
I don't know if that fully answered your question.
Yeah. Thank you. I'll follow up on
that. Any further questions? Thank you, Dr. Valls.
Thank you.
And now, as best I can, I will share with the board and with you, the public, the interim superintendent's report. And there are several items here I think that you might want to know about. First is the Dr. Elizabeth Gressett Professional Development Scholarship. Sumter School District Administrator Trevor Ivy has been selected as one of 5 winners of the 2019 Dr. Elizabeth Gressett Professional Development Scholarship. The scholarship is sponsored by Palmetto State Teachers Association's Foundation for Professional Development and is awarded annually to encourage and support PSTA members in pursuing advanced degrees. Dr. Ivy recently earned his doctorate in education from South Carolina State University. Fine Arts programs rate superior. All 3 ensembles of the Sumter High Orchestra performed and were evaluated for the Region 4 South Carolina Music Educators Association Concert Performance Assessment. The Honors Orchestra and the Chamber Orchestra earned superior ratings, and the Concert Orchestra earned an excellent rating. This is the 9th consecutive year that the Honors Orchestra has brought home the highest rating possible. Also, the Honors Orchestra was one of only 3 other ensembles in the entire state of South Carolina to perform on a grade 6 level. Congratulations to the Crestwood High School Choir and the Sumter High School Choir for earning superior with distinction at the choir performance assessment. South Carolina Athletic Coaches Association Hall of Fame. Sumter High School athletic trainer Gary Nelson has been selected for the South Carolina Athletic Coaches Association Hall of Fame. He will be inducted July 28th. Gary is also a member of the Sumter County Athletic Hall of Fame and the South Carolina Athletic Trainers Hall of Fame. Michael Student Leadership Award. Tavon Gibbons, a student at Crestwood High School, has been selected to receive the Billy Michael Student Leadership Award from the National World War II Museum. This award is given annually to one student from each state, who demonstrates the American spirit in his or her community, the values of leadership, teamwork, tolerance, creativity, and perseverance were reflected in his nomination. Congratulations, Tavon Gibbons. And that's the interim secretary's report as best I can do with it.
Superintendent.
What did I say?
Secretary. You will get the secretary.
I am the secretary. The interim superintendent's report. All right. You all have to, I think most of you all realize I'm over 30. And when you get over 30, you can't always keep it together. All right, at this time, point 5 on the agenda, the financial report. We will be dealing 5.18% bond projects.
Good evening, Chairman Canty, board members. In front of you, you have been provided with the 8% bond for the spring projects that we're going to do for the information technology side. As you can see, we are going to need the Dell Chromebooks, 5,300 of those at a price of $408 for a total of $2.1 million. We need teacher laptops, 300 of those for a total price of $368,000. Staff and admin desktops, 549 for a price of $662,000. We need an electric scissor lift for $22,000, and surveillance and access controls, $350,000. That's a total proposed budget of $3,567,010.
Okay, thank you very much.
Are there any questions?
Ms. Miller, are these items things that the district just wants to replace, or they absolutely have to be replaced right now?
I will actually let RP Jonas answer that, but I can tell you that we met as a group with the superintendent, and we have narrowed down these items significantly, and these are the must-haves. These were not the wants. You're going to say the same thing? Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Ms. Miller.
One quick question.
Yes.
Yes, of this amount, are there any funding coming from, where is the funding?
This will be from your 8% bond money that has already been approved by the board. That'll be $6.2 million. This is just the IT portion of that, the 3.5.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chair, I just have one question. What is the Genie electric scissor lift?
This is, my understanding, a lift that will take you up to replace those cameras. We've invested a lot of money in the security cameras, and we need the lift to be able to reprogram them and access those if there's a problem.
It's a hydraulic system.
Okay.
Okay. Is that the only one we will have in the system, or do we have others?
It's my understanding there is another one that is significantly in bad shape and needing repairs and saved with the maintenance department.
Thank you. All right. Any further questions? Thank you very much, Ms. Miller.
You're welcome.
And Brother RP for standing by. Item 6 is executive session. Is there a motion to enter into executive session?
So moved.
Is it a?
Yeah, I'm trying to find.
It is right.
Okay, I make a motion that we enter into executive session for receipt of legal advice related to state board appeal, discussion of personnel report, employment, appointment, compensation, promotion, demotion, discipline, and or release of employee, discussion of the 2019-2020 personnel contracts, discussion of individual student or students matters.
Is the motion supported?
Supported.
You've heard the motion, and it's second that we enter into executive session for the purpose of receipt of legal advice related to state board appeal, discussion of personnel report, employment, appointment, compensation, promotion, demotion, discipline, and or release of an employee, discussion of 2019-20 personnel contracts, and discussion of individual student or student matters. Those in favor of the motion will indicate with a show of hands. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. Please, you got the vote. Yeah. It's before you.
He voted abstain. I didn't vote abstain. I voted yeah. I promise you. Let me try it again. It should pop up. It did, and I voted yay. I guess these old foreign fingers are too big.
It just popped up on your screen.
You all give us a while, we'll get this new system down. It's just gonna take a while, all right?
No, it doesn't do it till I close it.
Okay.
And it's supposed to give me a chance to re-vote. I'll be doing if I can find it. Log me out. I went to vote and it said, and I voted yay. And it popped up and I voted. But it told me up here I abstained. It hadn't popped up again. Brian, did yours show up?
It just showed up. It logged me out. I had to log back in and pop back up.
Good. Nope, mine hadn't showed back up yet.
You want to change the one? Just get this one. You can go back and
What?
just keep clicking.
That's what I did the first time and he said I abstained.
Oh, I see. It says a button change.
Yeah, no fingers are too big.
I see.
Oh, God.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a unanimous vote. We will now enter into executive session. Thank you.
Oh.
Because I would get this. Right.
Right.
Get back to the TV.
Do you argue? I came out arguing.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Review agenda.
No, she'll say 20.
And your microphone.
That's right. Just reach your head.
Upon consensus, the board will return to open session. Any disagreement with that? Thank you very much. We move to item 7 of the agenda, action required. I'm sorry. Please give us a minute.
We are experiencing technical difficulties.
Only temporarily.
This elevator music.
You have to join the meeting?
Now we're on 7-1. Ready for the motion?
All right, we're ready. Okay, okay. Item 7-1.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve any action related to receipt of legal advice regarding the State Board appeal. I move that the board approve and adopt the financial recovery plan prepared by district administration, which will be presented tomorrow in connection with the district's appeal of the state superintendent's declaration of fiscal emergency.
Is there a second?
Second.
The motion is second. Thank you. We will now vote.
Amy's gotta make it pop up.
It ain't come up yet.
She's trying back there, she's trying.
Dr. Baker, you did the second? Dr. Baker did the second?
No, she already.
Miss Ray did the second. All right, Reverend Kenny, you can witness I got it on the 8. See, it come again. It says I'm voted abstain, and you saw it. What is wrong with this thing?
You changed vote.
It changed. It changed. Let's see. There you go. Right here.
Maybe I'm gonna hit it again.
Okay.
Maybe I have to do change vote everything.
There's 6 yeas, 3 nays. The motion carries. Item 7.2.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the personnel report as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
The motion is made and supported. We will now vote.
Change vote.
Every time it says I abstain.
It's unanimous. 7.3.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that the 2019-2020 contract database be approved as presented by the HR department.
Second.
It's motion and seconded. I guess I should ask, is there any discussion? If not, we're prepared to vote.
Did it that time?
It's unanimous and carries. 7.8 is no action tonight. 7.5.
We don't have a 7.4.
The 8% bond projects.
7.4 on ours.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. Well, I've been on mine showing 7.5. 7.4.
Mine says 7.5.
Mine does too.
Mine says 7.5.
Can you refresh your screen?
Oh, we didn't refresh our screens. So is it 7.4?
7.5. 7.5.
7.5?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Motion to approve the 8% bond project is presented.
The motion.
Second.
The motion is Made to adopt the 8.8% bond projects. Is there any discussion? If not, those in favor will vote one way or the other. I have to get used to this thing. It's unanimous and it carries. The 8% bond as presented. 8.1, approval of consent agenda items.
So moved.
Second. It's motion and second that the consent agenda items would be approved. Is there any discussion? If not, we're prepared to vote. Item number 9, adjournment. And if there is no debate, no objections, we will stand adjourned at 9:46. Thank you very much. God bless you. Have a good night.